Hey everyone, so today is the long-awaited ateeez storing photo cards video. Long-awaited, at least for me, because I've been accumulating all these cards for the last 6 months, and since the last time I put away ateeez cards, they have had 2 comebacks, so that is freaking wild. But for this video, everything right here is Outlaw plus merch up until current era, pretty much dedicated to Outlaw, and then there's a little bit of other stuff. But as you can see, these photo card trays are full to the brim. I counted, and it's 200 cards here for just ateeez, and it's 85% one era, so that is insanity. I definitely did not plan to collect this much for this era, but also just the album card situation alone was ridiculous, so if anything, album cards account for a huge amount of this. And also related to my ateeez collection, I've actually split up these binders again, and now this binder will just hold Spinoff and Outlaw. Spinoff used to be with eras prior, but I just decided to split it up because that binder was too heavy and I thought there was just too many pages in there. So I moved it to this binder, added Outlaw, and then put all my merch in a different binder because this used to be my merch binder. Also, for this era, I got this Woosan keychain from the Bouncy music video, and I thought this was so cute and thought it would go great in this binder because this will now be the Outlaw binder. But time to just get started. So I really have no clue how many pages this is going to take, but I just put in like 30. So this container is the one that's holding the majority of the album cards, and I'll start with these. So I might change the layout of all these pages because there's so much to put in, but for now I think I'm just going to start with this unit page. So for this era, I decided to collect all of San and Wooyoung's units. So I have 4 with Yeosang, and then the 4 with Yuno. This page looks so black and white because the 2 units I didn't collect are the ones with members with colored hair, so that's funny. But for this page, I put my 2 favorite units in the center and then all the rest on the outside. Then moving on, I have all of these cards that are for my top 3. So when this era was first announced, and all of the album details came out with the regular album cards, platform, digipack, all the concept cards. Honestly, it was migraine inducing, and I really had no clue what I wanted to collect because they had like 30 cards per member from the album cards alone. And I was like, 1, how am I gonna lay all that out? And 2, do I even want all of that? Because it was just not an encouraging situation for me as a collector. But as the era went on and I kind of just accumulated all these cards, I basically decided to collect all the selfie cards, and then I didn't collect any of the concept cards from the platform version because I hate concept cards. So yeah, these are all the cards for my top 3, except for a few, and I'm just gonna lay them out in columns. I usually don't do this for ateeez, like do the column layout, because I tend to give members their own page, but that's when there was 9 cards per member, and now there's like a ridiculous amount, so just gonna do columns. And this first page is going to be cards from the regular album version. So at the top will be the punching cards, which is what I endearingly call them. And then I have 1 card per member of the digipack cards. And then at the bottom will be the bread cards, which are probably like one of my favorite cards of the era. Honestly, I would have collected OT8 for this set, but these kind of worked better in this layout, and also Hongjun's card just does not fit, so I just decided to stick with my top 3. But yeah, all these cards are in the same outfit, which this was my favorite set of outfits of the 2 that all the album photo cards are primarily in. Then moving on, we have the rest of the regular album versions. Even though there's more cards in this outfit from the platform version, I decided I didn't want to mix platform cards with album cards, so I decided to do the Sprout set in the center, even though they're in the different outfits. Also, I don't really know why I decided to put Sunglot in the center, because usually I would just do bias order. And it's also not an age order, but honestly, I think his cards just looked better in the center when it came to him having an odd one out. And here's this page. I love these 2 glasses cards. Then moving on, the platform cards, the selfie ones. So I put the plain ones at the top, and then the odd ones out, outfit-wise, in the center with the hearts, and then the other heart set at the bottom. And I always tend to put my favorite set at the bottom. Like, these are my favorites, and then these ones are my favorites. Actually, my favorites on this page are these ones, but since they need to be in the middle, you get the point. Also, while I was trying to collect this era, this card right here, I think was like the hardest card of the era. This was the one that would make every single photo card listing be 3 times as more expensive. So the internet was really stressing over this card, both on Instagram and Mercari Japan. And then the last page of top 3 cards are all the ones in the white outfits. So I'm putting the peace sign ones up top, the ones holding the album in the center, and then this set on the bottom. The only set from the platform version I didn't store was the one where they're holding the little spicy sticks. They didn't really have a layout within these pages. And then I also considered collecting OT8 for them because if it wouldn't work in the page and I wanted to store my top 3, I could just collect OT8. But I don't really like that photo card set enough to do that, even though it would probably be like $8 to get all of them because those cards are so cheap. I don't know, I just didn't want to waste sleeves and space on that set when I don't really like them. And then I have just 2 OT8 sets for the irregular album cards. The first one is this like hiding set or whatever. Honestly, I don't really like these cards. I think they're kind of weird, but I decided to collect 1 OT8 set in an effort to just store my top 3. Also, I bought these cards, so might as well store them, but they were super cheap. And same thing, I have the other 3 members of these, but I don't really want to store them. I might eventually, but I don't really want to use the space right now. And I could just put those spicy cards with those cards, but they don't match in concept or anything, so I think they would just look bad on the page to me. But yeah, here's this. I have both sets of these OT8, but I just picked my favorite card per member and went with that. And then lastly, for regular album cards, I have the jacket set. I decided to collect this one because these cards for my top 3 just did not match in those layouts, and 2, I really like this set a lot, so I decided to just do OT8. I have everyone but Yuno, but I have a trade for that one on the way in the mail, so he's been secured. Yeah, I think Yosong by far has my favorite jacket card. This one is so cute. And this page will be complete soon. Then next up, I have these platform card sets, which to be honest, I don't really like these image card sets because they're just concept cards. And if I wanted to see these pictures, I would just look at the photo book. But I actually liked the picture that was on the back. I thought they looked like cool trading cards. So I got all the members' sets and just took one card and turned it around. And I'm just using the back of the card. And again, I have everyone but Hongjun, but he is on the way. One, I thought this looked like a cool trading card set, and 2, I loved all these outfits from the bouncy music video, and I thought might as well make use of all these photo card sets I just accumulated. Okay, so I just took a minute to put in all the fillers for the following pages, but now I'm going to move on to all the pobs I collected for this era. So I'm actually going to skip over these pages for a second and go ahead and do my OT8 sets. So I didn't really collect that many OT8 sets this era. I collected 6, and one could argue that that is a lot, but historically for past eras, I've done like 12 to 16-ish, so I definitely dialed it back this era compared to others. So the first one I have is this one, which I think is like mini record 2. At least like 50% of the pobs this era all look the same, and they're repeating the same few outfits. So I just tried to get one OT8 set per outfit so it wouldn't be super repetitive. And also I went for this set because there aren't album cards in these outfits. So even though these outfits were used a ton of times for pobs, I actually didn't already have any since there weren't album cards in this outfit. Yeah, here's this set. I love how most of them are pinching their cheeks. Then we have this set, which is with Mew 2 from the bouncy music video outfits, and they're all poking their cheeks in this one. I'm pretty sure there's like 5 or 6 pobs per member in each of these outfits. But truly, the outfits they decided to repeat more than anything were all of the ones in the white shirts, and then the ones in these outfits, and then the ones with the suspenders. There's probably at least 25 pobs in all those outfits. But for all those outfits, I decided to collect the Makestar cat ears cards. And this is actually the round of Makestar I decided to pre-order my albums from. And this happened so long ago, I honestly forgot this happened. But when I bought these albums, clearly I bought 16 albums for like 2 OT8 sets of pobs. But I don't know if I was just losing my mind, but when I was opening the albums, I was 100% convinced I was supposed to get 18 albums. Not like I thought ateez had 9 members or anything, but I just thought I was supposed to get even sets of albums, so 6 of each. But when I opened them, I had 6, 5, and 5. And I was so dead set that Makestar messed up my order. Like, I literally was ready with the video recording proof, plus I was fully about to make an inquiry to Makestar, thinking they shorted me 2 albums. But no, I'm just an idiot who didn't realize I bought 16 albums for 16 cards. But this is not the point of this story. So after I'm in this haze of irritation and being annoyed, I'm just like opening the albums, and when I say, in one of the last albums, there was a Polaroid, a signed Polaroid. I've never pulled a Polaroid out of an album in my life, let alone my alt group ever. I was like screaming and crying on the floor. I just couldn't even fathom what was happening. At the time, I still thought I was shorted 2 albums, but I was like, Makestar, you are absolved. Everything is fine. Literally shook beyond belief. Nothing like that has ever happened to me, ever. And crazily enough, I bought this set of Makestar albums from the 2nd or 3rd round of orders, so it definitely wasn't pre-orders. And they must have still been putting Polaroids in all the albums that weren't pre-orders, because that batch of albums was definitely like further along into the era. So I have no clue how there was still Polaroids in those albums, but oh my god. And it's actually the first ateez Polaroid I've ever got, because I've never bought one myself because they're just way too expensive for my budget. I've assigned Polaroid from another member of another group, but it was so cheap because that group is not very popular. And I've always wanted one for ateez, but I never wanted to buy one. And even when I won a fan call 2 airs ago, my winter benefits didn't even come with a Polaroid. So I didn't get one then, and I felt, well, if I wasn't gonna get one for that fan call, or I don't want to buy one, I'm never gonna get one. But oh my god. But this happened so long ago, I almost forgot it happened, but it was insane. And the Polaroid was pink hair Mingy, and he was wearing one of the black turtlenecks from one of the album concepts, and signed in a silver Sharpie on top of his black shirt. The signature is so good and so visible, and yeah, just best day of my life, best thing that ever happened to me. But yeah, had to tell that story while putting away these Makestar cards, because that is where the Polaroid came from. But moving on, I have this set. I think this is like mini record 5 or something, but honestly, no clue, because there was like 15 rounds of mini record. I really love this Sonic card. Also, this Mingy card is so cute. These cards are pretty simple, but I, again, love the outfits, and this set was insanely cheap. And the last OT8 set I have is from, like, 40 pobs later. I decided to get the very last mini record set, because I didn't have any OT8 sets from when they all changed hair colors, like red hair Son and Hongjin having brown hair again. And these ones were definitely my favorite of everything with their new hair colors. There we go, and that is the last OT8 set I had. Now, all these pages are just extra, but I collected 6 for the era, and then moving back to these pages, these are all for the pobs that I didn't collect OT8 for. So, because this era had the most cards they've ever had, I somehow managed to collect this many pobs of non-OT8 sets, and I've pretty much laid them all out in 6 patterns. So this first page is for cards that were the original pre-order rounds that all kind of look like album cards or look similar to each other. So for the corners, I actually got 2 broadcast cards because they were pretty cheap, and these were 2 of my favorites of the era, and I thought they would just look well on this page. So we got San and Seonghwa's. And then these two cards in the center will be Apple Music. Funny story, I got these two cards from a K-pop store in Atlanta, and from that K-pop store to my next destination, I completely lost these cards in the car somewhere and was having a mental breakdown and heart attack for like 30 straight minutes looking for them in the car. Turns out I put them inside an album, which I was 80% convinced the whole time we were looking that I put them in that album, but I went through over and over and over and just couldn't find it no matter what. But turns out it was like stuck between two pages that absolutely were not going to come apart. Like even when you do like the fan through, no wonder I flipped that album like 5 or 6 times and couldn't find them. But in the end, crisis averted because they were in there. And then for the last two cards, I think these are like mini record version 1. Also for non-OT8 sets, I've started double sleeving my ateez pobs. For this page, I have 3 of the 4 cards from the Everline pop-up. So the scarf one, the camera one, and the straw hat one. And then for this bottom corner, I have another member's equivalent. I feel like I say this every video, but for my ateez pob layouts, I collect San for everything, and then the second member for each equivalent. It doesn't matter who it is, it's just the one I think looks best with San. So a lot of times it is Seonghwa, like on this and then my prior collection, but it's never one member all the way through or one member per era. Just the card I think goes the best. But most of the time it is Seonghwa or Wooyoung. And these were definitely some of their cutest cards, but again, you can see what I mean about they use these white shirts for half the pobs this whole era, because this whole stack right here is in the same outfits. They truly just put on like 25 different props while wearing these same 2 or 3 outfits and called it a day. Because if you look at a template, there's definitely double the amount of cards that I have here in these same outfits. For this page, it just continues on those outfits. So the first one I have is the With Mew Sailor Lucky Draw. Then I have this one, I think it's mini record something. And then lastly is this one. I'm not exactly sure what this was from, but I think it's some Thailand card. And then I also have Yuno, Yosong, and Wooyoung to finish this page. I thought these cards were so cute, the way they're wearing these like bear headbands. And I didn't store him, but I also have the Yosong equivalent of these because he was wearing a double headband and it was adorable. But yeah, here is this page. Then the next page is these 3 sets where all 3 of them are some mini record round. So for the corners, I have these San and Seonghwa cards. I really love this card. It's really simple, but for some reason it really works for me. Then next up, these 2, one San and I have this Mingi. And starting at this point, all these cards forward are cards that either aren't in those white shirts or the original pre-order outfits. So definitely much more interesting. Oh, and also by this point, for most of these cards, this is where they've changed hair colors. So like San has red hair. But the last 2 cards for this page are these 2, and these were from the Water Bomb performance. And I mean, I just had to have these because, hello, that whole concert was iconic, and I love the glasses they're wearing. And then second to last page, we have these ones. So the first 2 are some of the very last mini record rounds. These cards are almost identical. Just in one, he has his eyes open. And then Wooyoung and Seonghwa equivalents. And then 4 right here. This is my favorite San card of the whole era. The Soundwave umbrella cards where they're also wearing the outfits from that one stage. And just... these cards are so iconic. I really want OT8 of this set, but they're pretty expensive. I also have Yuno and Wooyoung's, so I would have to get Hongjin, Seonghwa, Jongho, and Yosong, and I just don't want to pay so much money for Seonghwa and Hongjin. Like, I know they'd be so expensive, and I'm not storing him because I don't think it looks as good on this page, but I also, of course, have the Wooyoung equivalent because, I mean, come on. Woosan, like, had to do it. I really need to put those 2 cards in some card holders and make a post for Instagram. But yeah, I really just love this Mingi card. I thought his hair looked amazing, and hello, I also really love the umbrella in the background. But yeah, there's this page. Honestly, I don't really think these 2 cards go well on this page, but they were kind of just the leftovers, and I didn't really know where else to put these cards. Because, like, definitely not on one of these 2 white pages. And then this page is early era cards. Suppose they could go somewhere on here. But also, I don't really know. And then the very last cards for this era I have are all these pretty casual looking cards. So the first two are Make Star. And then this one is one of the MMTs. And I have Sunghwa's equivalent for all of these. So I really like this page because I think they all kind of suit each other. But tragic story about this page is I just need a rant. So before I was going to put these MMTs on this page, I was going to put the two Everline cards on this page, the ones that came in a set. They looked really similar to these two, and I had San and Sunghwa's set claimed in a go, and they were just going to like fill this page like an 8 pattern. And keep in mind, this was a really expensive go for me. Like, I usually don't join for more than 2 cards at a time, but I joined for 4 because they were in sets. And then I think in this round, if you claimed more than a certain amount, you got a free extra pob. So I had 5 cards coming in this go, and it was really expensive because Everline's one of those companies where like usually pob prices start higher as opposed to like Mini Record where it's usually for a platform album, so it starts cheaper. But these ones were really high starting price. Plus there was EMS and DMS. Because it was so expensive, we were forced to pay for track, which honestly I didn't really want to do. I'm kind of that person who's just willing to risk stamped, but we were forced to pay for track, and my cards literally got lost in the mail because USPS said they got delivered, quote, quote. I don't know whose house they gave it to because it wasn't mine. USPS marked it as delivered, so the tracking just completely stopped updating. Naturally, like if something's delivered, why would it keep updating? Like, that is just absolutely ridiculous that USPS just delivered my package to some random house and I can't even track it anymore because, quote, quote, it was delivered. I didn't even make any type of inquiry to them about this because there's no way this would ever get resolved. Like, I honestly have just taken the L, but I was literally just so irritated and depressed about the situation because it was so expensive and I didn't even want to pay for tracked. If I would have paid for stamped and they just would have got lost in the mail, I honestly would have coped better with that because I could just pretend they would keep coming. Or even if I had tracking, but say it was just the tracking never updated again and it was just stuck in some random city, at least I could think it might be coming. But no, my tracking was just absolutely useless because it was marked as delivered. And honestly, I thought, well, if it got delivered to another person's house, maybe they'll just return it to mine, because that's happened a few times in the past, not necessarily with K-pop, but just like general mail. So sometimes things get misdelivered and then they just return it, but it's been months now and nothing has ever been delivered. And then someone on Instagram told me that one time this happened to someone they knew, and then it had been months and the original letter got returned to sender, like after saying it was delivered. But that hasn't happened either. Like, the GOM hasn't reached back out to me and say, oh, your package was returned to me or anything like that. So I really have just completely given up hope. And honestly, I don't really care anymore because this page looks fine. But could this not have happened with any other group order? I joined some group orders where the base price of the card is like $7, no EMS, free DMS. And it's so cheap. But no, this had to happen to the one package that had 5 cards in it. It was really expensive. EMS, tracked shipping, which clearly is like $5. Also, they were cards I couldn't just re-get easily on buy. For example, say like these cards got lost, or I don't know, just some of this other stuff. Like, all these other cards are relatively cheap and would be easy to just rebuy, but no. It had to be these Everline cards that came in a set and go for like 60 bucks each for the set. So that is just fantastic for me. Honestly, I'm over it. I probably don't sound over it, but I really coped with it months ago and have just decided, well, I guess I pulled that Polaroid, so there's life balancing itself out. But okay, rant over. Just needed to share that because I didn't really tell this to anyone else in my life because who would care? Like, who would understand, who would care, or who would get it? You know what I mean? But I know we all understand what it feels like for USPS to just completely lose something of yours. With all of that ranting out of the way, this was the last pobs I had for the whole era. Okay, so it's actually the next day because it got dark before I could finish filming yesterday, and I need to circle back to this binder because I just got a card that completes one of the pages. So I just got this card in the mail today, Yuno's jacket card, and now Slay, this page is complete. And now that there's better lighting, I can do a complete flip through of this era. So starting out, we have the unit cards, then the regular album cards, platform cards, the Peking OT8 set, and the jacket cards, then these image cards, just waiting on Hongjun, and then my pob layouts, so the early era cards plus some broadcasts, the white outfit cards, and then the cards later into the era. And lastly, my OT8 sets. cat ones. And then the last one. And that is everything I collected for this era. I added up all the pages, and I think it's 20, so that's crazy. A lot of it is album cards, so I think it could have been worse. Yeah, that is everything for this era. And now on to EP Finn Will. Another era is already upon us. And the last cards I have are all merch cards, which I have moved all of my merch back into this binder. Here's the return of this cover. I really don't like this cover anymore, but I haven't made a collage in forever, so I need to make a new one with Will albums. But before we get on to photo cards, I have an extremely exciting item. So I have no clue how long some of you guys have watched my channel, but if you've been here since the beginning, every other storing video or so, I would put away one of the anniversary postcards. One by one I was collecting them, but in the end I never ended up getting Sunghwa because he was just the most expensive, hardest to get. Also, back when I was collecting these, pobs didn't exist. Like, fan calls hadn't even been invented yet because this was like 2019, early 2020. So pretty much in the collecting world of ateeez, all they had was MMT, like the really hard MMT cards from Treasure series. So to find pobs was near impossible back then. And in the end, I managed to get 7 of the 8 members, and I never got Sunghwa, but honestly, it's been so many years, I really stopped caring. And also, I kind of forgot I even ever collected these. But one completely random day, I was on Macari US. I don't even know what I was looking for, just random cards, and for some strange reason, I just thought to look up this postcard, which, keep in mind, I haven't looked for these postcards in years. And moment of silence. I found the Sunghwa MMT postcard for like $25. I usually see this going for like $100 or just any value around that because these are so rare, and especially now, I mean, they were rare 3 years ago, but now there's probably 5 times as many ateeeez, and I'm like, someone was selling this for like $25. I could not fathom because historically, if I've seen it on Instagram, it's like 50-ish, and if I see it on Macari Japan, it's like 100, and I just never thought I would get this. Not because it's like the most impossible thing to find, but just because, I don't know, I kind of forgot I even needed this, and prices are just kind of wild, but y'all, I cannot contain myself. And I've said this before, but the anniversary photo card set is like my favorite photo cards ever, despite them not even being selfies. I've just loved the look of them. And I don't really put up posters in my room, but the one poster I've had in my room for like the last 4 years is the anniversary vertical one, because everything about this album and photo shoot I just love. So to finally have that last postcard, I feel like is the final boss of my collection, truly. And now I have all 8. And the way I have them stored is San and Wooyoung are on the first page and then everyone else in H order. So here is all 8. Oh my god. This is just so slayful. And the reason they're in this binder instead of my inclusions binder is because I put like really important inclusions in this binder, and what could be more important than this? Sometimes I think about these postcards and I'm like, do new ateeeez even know these existed? Because I feel like with the last 7 eras that have all had pobs, like from Fever Part 1 up until current day, pobs are just in everyone's consciousness when you think about collecting, and I haven't heard anyone bring these up in years. So genuinely, do people actually know about these still? And I actually went back to my old videos and found the last time I put away one of these, and it was Jongho's in the middle of 2020. It is now December of 2023, so it has been 3.5 years since I have put away one of these postcards. Just a moment of silence. Okay, moving on. Now to the last photo cards I have, which go right here. The first set I have is this Limitless pop set. It's either Tower Records or HMV, I'm not sure, but they're the hollow sparkly ones. I actually have 2 of this on card because it's freaking adorable. I don't usually collect Japanese cards, but I'll try to get some for the era just to, I don't know, commemorate that it happened. But these cards were so nice, and the hollow was really pretty. and also I just needed an excuse to get this card. And the next cards are for their 4th 18/8 fan kit. This was the best fan kit concept they've ever had. I thought last year's would be impossible to be topped because it was the laundry concept one that was super fun and adorable, but this one, yeah, this one is just so superior. The fairy tale concept and prince outfits, this one was literally designed for me. And the photo card set, 5,000 out of 10. So pretty, especially, Yosong Mingi. Wow. When I was looking at this kit the other day, forgot that in the package they came with IDs, so I want to make something like this again, like little fillers for the IDs like I did in the past. Hopefully in the next couple days I can work on that. And then for the fan kit, I have the units. I wish they weren't Polaroids, but oh well, at least we got units. Truly, anything in this concept, I'll take anything. And the last set of cards for this binder and video are from the summer photo book. Now, oh my god, I finally put away all the cards I've had for the last 6 months, both ateeez and all my other groups. I truly feel free, and what better time than at the very end of the year. Although the irony of putting all these ateeez cards away is that Will Era has already been going for the last month, and I probably have at least 100 cards built up for that one. So, it never ends. But I just love all these photo card sets so much, both all the merch sets and all of Outlaw. Plus, I mean, the infamous Seonghwa postcard. But yeah, with that, thank you all so much for watching. In the comments, chat with me about literally anything I talked about this video. I swear I went on 10 different side tangents, but hey, there was a lot to say about ateeez in the last 6 months. But I hope you all enjoyed, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.